So, networking may have helped you meet some people who will let you know when their companies are hiring. But what's the first thing they asked you? Can you send me a resume? In this section, we'll introduce you to Bob. He's on a job search just like you. He's put together a resume highlighting all his accomplishments over the past 15 years. The only problem is, it's currently sitting in a stack of 100 other resumes waiting to be reviewed. With the help of our resume expert and author, Jay Block, we're going to transform Bob's crowded, poorly written resume into a dynamic, easy-to-read, one-way ticket to the job interview room. Hi, Jay. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Jay is the author of 101 Best Ways to Land a Job in Troubled Times, published by McGraw-Hill. So, how important is a resume?
The resume is critical, and for 5 reasons, truly. Number 1 is resumes help the candidate determine their value. Number 2 is that we've got to be talking about strategy. Are we using a recruiter? Are we going to be networking? So we've got to take a look at what are the strategies we're going to be utilizing so that the resume is aligned with that strategy. The third one is the most important in the end for you, and that is it gives you confidence. It takes your confidence level to a whole new level. The fourth reason is that it will open doors that normally wouldn't be open. And number 5, probably most importantly, is when they know the messages, they'll interview better.
Looking at Bob's resume, what are your top 3 fixes?
Number 1 is presentation. We need to make it more exciting, more inviting. Number 2 is that the information, once we've engaged the reader, has got to be compelling. And number 3 is that we've got to take a look at the specific deliverables, the results that this resume has got to communicate to an employer that you've done in the past that would be key indicators that you can do it in the future. After all, the only reason he's going to get hired, the only reason any job seeker is going to get hired is to produce results. So our job in the resume in the first 10 to 15 seconds is to be able to say, hey, and this is what I can do. This is what I can do better than my competition. This is what I bring to your company. This is why you should hire me.
Looking at Bob's resume, it looks a little crowded. What would you do to improve the presentation?
When we talk about white space and we talk about readability, that's real important. So if we utilize, for instance, this particular picture, get rid of this picture and add a graphic that we could find that says contribute. That becomes the theme of this resume. And then we're going to redesign the employment sections with bullets and so forth so that they can easily get into the employment section and identify what results that he produced. And I would also suggest we change the fonts to a more reader-friendly font such as Arial or Times Roman. There are no rules to this, but professional as though your life depended on it.
What would you say are some words to avoid?
What you want to avoid is the me's. I want this, I want that, I'm looking for a job where I can grow. So the words we want to avoid are what's in it for me. Any kind of phrase or words that's what's in it for me, and turn it around and what's in it for the employer.
What are some power words that Bob can use?
Anything that zeroes in on an achievement, on a bottom line economic, organizational achievement, benefit, contribution. I came up with new techniques to avoid accidents, to reduce liabilities. So it's reduced, I increased, I enhanced, I improved, but quantitatively. A resume without achievements is like a report card without grades. So we've got to make sure that the achievements are the key component to the employment section, and we want to make sure that those achievements are the results one produced.
Look at this. Looks like a completely different resume. Now, what finishing touches would you use?
We are going to identify 6 to 8 skill sets that Bob brings to the table that would lead an employer to believe that he can produce the results. We've got to be talking about the contributions one can make, whether it's improve efficiencies or reduce expenses or improve cash flow or increase sales or meet organizational goals. So the key is to develop these 6 to 8 messages, identify these 6 to 8 messages. And then once we identify those 6 to 8 messages, we showcase that atop the resume, just like a headline to an advertisement. We do want to give a line or two of what they did, was responsible for this and manage that, but specifics and numbers are key. So if we know the number of people we managed, if we know the number of dollars in inventory we handled, if we know the budgets, if we know the numbers, we want to put that in. And from a bulleted standpoint, the bullets are like the grades. So we want to make it easy for the reader. So if they're going to read anything on the resume, it's the bullets. If we've got room on the resume, we've talked about white space, but if we have room on the resume that we actually want to put a reference or two, actual 1 or 2 lines of a reference from a former employer, we can do that on the resume. There are no rules to resume writing other than to excite, engage the employer to say, this guy is, or this lady is who we want to bring in. This is exactly what we're looking for.
How has the electronic age changed resume writing?
The emerging trend is that the resume is now becoming the cover letter. And a LinkedIn profile, an online profile, is becoming the resume. So we've got to be aware that we are in the middle of a change here. And probably in 3 years, we won't be doing resumes. All of our information, our profiles, will be online. And, you know, speaking about the LinkedIn profile, I know that the state of Ohio has a great resource called Ohio Means Jobs. So once we have that LinkedIn summary, once we have taken the resume and put it online, we can also create a profile on Ohio Means Jobs. And again, another way to make our presence known and land a job. And in many cases, employers won't accept resumes any other way than electronically.
So most people are uploading the resume to a job site or faxing them directly to an employer.
Yes, well, and cover letters today are changing as well. And there's 2 ways to do that. One is that you can include the cover letter as part of the email. So if they're uploading it and they're going to be sending it by email, so the email becomes the cover letter. If they in fact are going to send a cover letter, it should be part of the same file that the resume is. We don't want them to open up multiple files. People just have too much to read today. So today, cover letters have got to be kept short if you're going to write one. They do want the names of the people that we're sending it to. So if I'm sending it to Robert Smith, then I want his name and make sure I spell it correctly and the title and the company and so on. But today the cover letters have got to be real short. And then here's the key, 4 words: I respect your time. So a good cover letter might be, I'm applying for the position as accountant with your firm, know that I can produce extraordinary results, and then I respect your time and know that my value, ability to contribute, and past achievements are well documented on my resume. Now, I do suggest to most people that if you can, identify the hiring person and send a hard copy by mail, Federal Express, Priority Mail. So we want to communicate. This is really an art of communication and marketing combined. I mean, we don't leave any stones unturned. So we utilize as many options as we possibly can.
Do you consider a job search marketing?
Yes, but I'll tell you that I don't like the phrase job search, and it's about time in our industry we just take that word and get rid of it. And in the end, words create emotions. But more importantly, what we are going to do here is conduct a job campaign, not a job search. They're not going to be looking for this proverbial needle in the haystack for a job. They're going to identify the kind of jobs they want, the kind of companies they want to work for, the kind of people that might be able to steer them in the right direction, and a campaign is proactive as opposed to reactive. Selling is a positive marketing process. So we're not job searching anymore. Never, ever again. It's a campaign that we are going to control what we can control to get the results we want to get the jobs we want at the pay we deserve.